Hello and welcome to this course on how to build a winning business. My name is Ating and I'm an African entrepreneur. I've been in business getting to a decade now and I've served businesses across different sectors, name it aviation, finance, fast-moving consumer goods, real estate, and I've enjoyed, if I do say so myself, quite a bit of success in my career. During the course of my career, I've been able to generate over $8 million combined sales revenue for the businesses that I've served. I currently also run several businesses and I'll be sharing with you the tricks and some of the foundations that has been responsible for my success, not just in my business, but also in my consulting business. In this course, you will learn about strategy, what a business strategy is. You'll be able to differentiate between a business strategy and a plan. You will learn some of the common examples of business strategies that exist in the marketplace. You will learn some real-time examples through case studies of the business strategies that some of the popular brands that you know have adopted. We'll also learn about brand strategy, how we've been able to take a brand from obscurity all the way to profitability. I'll give you some real-life examples about my real estate clients that we took from zero meaning we launched into the market and driving them all the way to over $4 million in sales revenue over a period of 2 years. And then we'll learn about communication strategy, how we've been able to keep some of our INGO clients top of the radar in the area that we exist in, which is Nigeria. And if you don't know, Nigeria is in Africa. So I'll share some of these strategies with you and show you how you can adopt them in your business to help you build a winning business. And the last one would be the sales strategy. I'm primarily a salesman. I have a lot of experience, driving strategies in sales that have yielded results. I'm going to be sharing all of that with you, giving you real-life case studies of some strategies that I'm applying in my current business and in all the businesses that I've built over time. This is going to be so exciting and I can't wait to get into it. Without much ado, let's get into the course. Welcome to this module. This module is business strategy. In this module, you'll be learning about what business strategy is, the difference between business strategy and plan, the components of a good business strategy, and some case studies to help us have a better understanding. Let's get into it. So we'll start with the difference between a strategy and a plan. These two things are used interchangeably. Most times, a lot of us don't understand the actual difference between a strategy and a plan. A strategy identifies purpose and gives direction. So for example, if you were going to go from Nigeria to Ghana, a strategy specifies the direction in which you will move. A plan specifies how you are going to do that. So while a strategy is an overview, is an overall vision, a plan there are broken steps. A plan is broken down steps that will help us actualize our strategy. I hope that makes sense and I hope it's clearer now. I'll give you some examples. Somebody is sick and needs to raise money for treatment, right? That is a problem. And then here comes Mr. A that has decided that to be able to raise money for this treatment that I need to pay for, I have to do something. So what I am going to do is that I am going to sell computers. That becomes a strategy with which or through which Mr. A is going to generate the revenue needed to pay for the treatment. So selling computers is the strategy that will help him solve the problem, which is paying for treatment. I hope that makes sense. Then a plan would then be, how am I going to sell these computers? At what price am I going to sell these computers? How am I going to get these computers delivered to the people that buy these computers? All of those things form part of a plan. However, they are all working together to ensure that we meet the strategy, which is selling computers, so that we can resolve the problem, which is paying for the hospital bill. So in essence, strategy measures success while plans measures performance. Strategy has a more long-term approach, while plans, can change in the short term. Plans are the tactics that we apply every day, day to day. We don't change our strategies every day. We don't work on our strategy every day. We work on our plans to arrive at our strategy. So what then is strategy? Strategy is an integrated set of choices that positions us, or you in this case, on a playing field of your choice to win. It specifies how you are going to win. Strategy is a set of choices, and the reason why I like that is that in business, you have different choices. Even as an organization, you have the choice of doing business A, business B, business C, business D. But depending on the outcome that you desire, you will need to choose which of these businesses you need to go for. So that in itself is a strategy. Choosing the business that you are going to play in that will help you deliver your long-term outcome is what we call the corporate strategy. So strategy defines the business that your organization would be in. Strategy is the choice, making a choice of picking A over B and how A will help you win. That's what a strategy is. The general way that people define strategy is a way that a company or a business plans to create value for its stakeholders. And by stakeholders, in this point, we mean the staff, the customers, the shareholders of the business, and even vendors. That's what a strategy is. So the benefits of strategy. The first benefit of strategy is clarity. Strategy helps you decide what you are doing in business or what the solution that you are solving, who you are solving for, the value that you are presenting to them, why they'll be interested. It just helps everything lay out plain for you to understand. Outside this, you have so many ideas running around the place and you're not able to harness all of them effectively. If that happens, you are going to be caught in a hamster wheel, right? You'll be moving, but you'll not be making any progress. So strategy helps you have clarity. The second benefit of strategy is focus. Once you have a tunnel focus, you are able to achieve your goals and objectives in business. And if you are clear on the things that you have set out to do in business, you can just focus on that and assume that every other thing is a distraction. The third benefit of strategy is vision. Once you have defined clearly the terms on which your business is going to operate on, that creates a vision. It creates a destination with which everybody within the organization can move. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you a destination to travel to. It helps you set up every other things that will feed into your plans and objectives for the business. And the last benefit of strategy that I'll be sharing with you is commercial viability. Once you have stated out what you are doing, for whom you are doing it, you're able to decide the size of the market for which you are serving, and then the reward that you are going to get for the value that you are offering the market. So you can predict the sustainability of your business based off of your strategy. So I'll share some examples of common strategies that exist in the business world today. The first, and I think pretty much the most common, is product differentiation. There is product A, there's product B. A lot of people just want to be able to differentiate themselves. So by differentiation, I mean, how would the customer know that I am different from this person? How do I stand out? How do I make the customer pick me over the next alternative in the market? And we must know this. Every market has alternatives, right? So a lot of businesses build their strategy off of product differentiation. An example is Apple, right? And most people in the automobile, electronic industries, they tend to do a lot of product differentiation, because most times it's the features in one product that makes the customer pick that product over the next alternative in the market. The next common strategy that a lot of businesses employ, is improved customer experience. How do you make the customer feel by interacting with your product? This is a little bit different from the product differentiation, because it's not so much about the features in the product. It's just the feeling. It's an intrinsic value that the customer gets by just using your product. It's funny how another example of a company that uses this strategy is also Apple, right? Apple has succeeded in creating an experience for their customers that makes them always keep returning and picking Apple over the next alternative in the market. The next strategy that a lot of businesses employ is sustainability. Tying their activities into, the SDG goals, making more sustainable activities, being eco-friendly, environmentally friendly, addressing societal issues and needs. That's also a key strategy. And very importantly, in recent years, this strategy has caught up a lot, and a lot of businesses are adopting this strategy. Another strategy that businesses tend to use is cross-selling, offering the same customer different types of products so that they don't have any need to go to the next business. Cross-selling is the next common strategy that a lot of businesses adopt, offering the same customer or the same market segment a variety of products. If you've ever heard of a one-stop shop for X, that's an example of cross-selling as a strategy. The businesses that use this a lot are businesses like banks, businesses in hospitality, aviation. They tend to use a lot of that cross-selling as a strategy in their business. And then the last strategy I would like to share with you is the new market strategy, where a business sets out to acquire an untapped segment in the market. Now, with this strategy, the business is building for long term, where the market segment continues to grow with the business to the point where they can then interact with the business in terms of transactions. So an example of companies that use product differentiation as a business strategy are businesses in the mobile phone industry like Apple, like Samsung, and the rest. And even the automobile industry, like BMW, Mercedes, and all of that. Electronics as well, Samsung and LG and the rest. Most of them differentiate based on their product offerings, right? So they want to make their product have certain features so that the consumer or the customer can pick them over the next alternative in the market. These are the popular business strategies that exist in the market. So let's take some case studies on popular business strategies of businesses that we already know. Apple would be my first choice, and I think you would have guessed that right. Apple's business strategy is built on 4 pillars. The first being focus on design and functionality. Apple has disrupted the mobile phone industry time and time again, just by focus on user experience. Apple has invested a lot in their technology to improve how their products assist their customers, even in their lifestyle. So that's the first thing that their business strategy is built on, focus on design and functionality. So it goes beyond just using their mobile devices as a mobile phone, in the case of a mobile phone, to a point where it now forms part of the lifestyle of their customers. It's sort of like a companion. And you see this around their mobile phones, you see this with their Apple Watches, you see this with their AirPods. The second pillar of Apple's business strategy is enhance customer experience. I said this earlier on in the course when we were talking about the examples of business strategy. Anybody that purchases an Apple product is proud to be part of that ecosystem. So you see from people lining up in stores, build up to new releases, to people doing unboxing videos, they have succeeded in creating an experience that their customers want to enjoy. And this has been something that has helped them drive their revenue over the years. That's the second pillar on which their business strategy is built. The third pillar on which Apple's business strategy is built on is enhancing the Apple ecosystem. They've designed their product in such a way that if you enter, there's a connected loop of different services that you can enjoy that makes it easy for you to not want to leave the ecosystem. So they've created services across their watches, their AirPods, their mobile phones, and all whatnot, their iPads, and the list goes on and on. That focus on building a solid ecosystem is the third pillar on which the Apple business strategy is built. The last one is very unassuming. You'll never see it coming. But the last pillar on which the Apple business strategy is built on is depending less on the purchase of iPhones as a revenue stream. They've decided to focus more on services as a way of driving more revenue as opposed to the sales of the iPhone, which is their most priority product, as opposed to the sales of the iPhone, which is their most popular product. It's recorded by the year 2020. Services, the Apple ecosystem generated excess of $500 million from services within the business. Now let's talk a bit about Disney, the Walt Disney. If you are like me and you grew up watching cartoons, this would already be a familiar name. We are going to be talking about the pillars of their brand strategy. They have So Walt Disney has four solid pillars on which their strategy is built. The first one, as you'd guess, is creativity. So the media and entertainment conglomerate has built its business on the concept of creativity, which means the ability to create different themes, different things that will engage their audiences over time. So that's the first pillar on which their business is built on. The second pillar on which Walt Disney's strategy is built on is storytelling. The ability to tap into the emotions of their audiences, which most times is the entire family, has been something that Disney has been renowned for over the years. So constantly refining that capabilities and understanding the behaviors of people and the things that matter to them and creating cues and themes around those things is one thing that they are known for and one thing that has been responsible for their success over the years. The next pillar on which their strategy is built on is innovation. They've been able over time to advance with the changes in the world, advance with their audiences as their needs and their wants change. Disney has been able to adjust their offerings, whether it's to their theme parks or their entertainment, media content, or their now streaming platform that has constantly made sure that the people that they have been called to serve or they are in business to serve are on this journey with them. The fourth pillar on which the Walt Disney business strategy is built on is, as you guess, technology. In recent years, Disney has launched their own streaming services, the Disney Double Plus, where they are able to, move their content, their media content to the on-demand streaming platforms that their customers need to receive this content. What does that show us? They've been able to respond to the market, knowing that the tendency of people going to the cinemas is dwindling by the day, and they've been able to serve their customers using the things that they require using the things that they need and they are used to. That is what a business strategy helps you do. Gives you clarity, helps you to focus, and even helps you to measure the viability of your business. I have one more to share with you. before we go to the next model. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about McDonald's. They have an interesting business strategy. They even have a name for it. It's called Accelerating the Archers. This has been able to state the pillars on which their business will be built, and it's the basic thing on which their strategic plan has been built on. Let's get into it. So the three pillars of McDonald's business strategy is maximize our marketing, which covers their brand and their affordability. Commit to the core, which covers burger, chicken, and coffee, the three things that they are most known for. And the last one is double down on the 4Ds, which is delivery, digital, drive-through, and development. So for the delivery, is simplifying the way that their customers can get their products delivered to them. For digital, ensuring that they have sufficient digital footprint. For the drive-through, they were one of the businesses that introduced the drive-through, and this was what disrupted the food market, as at the time that it was introduced. And development, ensuring that they collaborate with the immediate communities that they exist in to provide, sustainability or development initiatives within those communities. This is what their business strategy is about. I hope that with all these examples, you have a fairer understanding what a business strategy is. So, I will now state the questions that your business strategy document must answer. The first and most important thing that it must address is the problem. What is the problem that your strategy is solving? It is very important that we don't miss the problem, because if we miss the problem, we'll be heading in the wrong direction, because whatever solution we are providing doesn't solve the problem that exists. So, first question that your business strategy document must answer is, what is the problem that the strategy is addressing? The second question that it must answer is, what value does this present to the customer? A lot of people call it value proposition. That is the singular thing that will make the customer choose your business over all the alternatives that exist in the marketplace. So your strategy document must be able to identify the value to the customer that you are providing. Then the next thing is, what does it mean to win? How are you going to win? I'd like to look at it this way. If I have 100 people to serve through this strategy that I have identified, and I've identified the value that I'm going to provide to them, is this 100 market size, or the market size of 100, is it enough to sustain my business? If it isn't, then maybe I'm most likely not going to win with that strategy. If it is, then we're in business, and then I can continue. Then the next thing you must define in your business strategy document is, what does success look like? You must be able to specify your level of growth. You must be able to set your performance indices, things that help you measure if you're on track. You must define what success means and what success looks like. How much are you looking to make? How much profit margin are you looking to make? Because don't forget that the reason why we are here in the first place is that we've identified a problem and we've seen it as an opportunity to make profit. So how much do you want to make? The market size, is it enough to provide the profit margins that you've set out to make? Your strategy document must be able to answer this question. What are your priorities for actions? What are the few things that you are going to focus on over the couple of years that will help you succeed to achieve your strategic ambitions? You see, we started off with clarity and focus. You must specify things that you are going to do over a period of time. Your strategy document must answer that. So in the case of McDonald's, as we mentioned earlier, we mentioned the focus on the 4Ds, we mentioned the focus on the core, and then we mentioned the brand and affordability component. We mentioned their focus on maximizing their marketing, their focus on their core, which is the main products which they are known for, and then focus on the 4Ds, which is delivery, development, and all of those things that we mentioned earlier. this is their focus. It's not going to change over a period of time till they have another strategic plan. You see how that works? So you must be able to define the things that you are going to focus on. And then my most favorite, you must have the things that you are not going to pay attention to. I call them trade-offs. The things that, since you have specified the things you focus on, it's like opportunity cost. You then have to look the other way and say no to certain things. Otherwise, you get back into the hamster wheel analogy that I gave us earlier. So I hope that you now have a better understanding of what a strategy is. In this model, we've discussed the difference between a strategy and a plan. We've defined what a strategy is. We've taken off some case studies that specifies the common, examples of business strategies out there in the marketplace, and even the brands that we know and business strategies that they've adopted and they are currently operating. In the next module, we are going to be delving into brand strategy, how to define your brand in such a way that your target audience falls in love with your brand, adopts your brand, and is willing to exchange, is willing to transact with your brand and even become an evangelist of your brand. See you in the next module.